Okay, all right. My name is CJ Kortes, and welcome to SEO Explained with CJ. I'm CEO of the SEO Contractor, and I am coming at you. It's been a few weeks, but I wanted to try out a little different format here and see how that goes. So, um, basically, same old stuff. We're picking a topic. Today, I want to talk about branding is dead. So, branding's dead kind of came about because I was watching a video, right? And or I'm always on social media finding clips and stuff, and I heard a guy talk about how a lot of really big businesses, some of the biggest businesses recently, have been taking away from their advertising and putting money, more money into their product. And by making a better product, it means they don't need to advertise anymore. Therefore, to them, branding is dead. Now, I don't disagree with, you know, a lot of what's being said there. But what I wanted to approach is what is a brand, So I wanted to start off by saying, what is a brand? Because in my opinion, branding is not dead. Branding is the everything of your business. Branding is the essence of your business. Branding is the soul of your business. But we have to be on the same page as to what a brand is. So for me, when I think of a brand, I don't think of a logo. I don't think of a just advertising or marketing. Um, to me, the brand is the company. The brand is the soul of the company. If a company, a company is an entity. So just the way a person is a person, and there's this belief that what makes us special, what our soul, our it defines us as our character, so to speak. If whether you do or don't believe in a soul, we know that a person has a character. They've got an essence to them. They have a soul to them, something that makes them unique. Whenever someone says your name or you say someone else's name or a name pops up, the first thing we think about is, who is that person to us? That's their brand. If they're a jerk, then that's their brand. If they're really nice, if they're really smart, if they're all of this stuff wrapped up in one, if they're kind of a slob, someone who works out all the time, it's not that their actions always become their brand, but there's this whole bit of characteristics about people that in the end, people, when you think of them, you think of that as a whole, and maybe some of it sticks out a little more, and that becomes their brand. So let's think about it as a company. What is your company's brand? What is your entity's brand? So let's think of something like Apple, or just Amazon. Let's think of these companies, and or just pick any of your favorite company. All right, so take favorite company, boom, put it in your head, and then think of the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that company. So whatever that may be, you've got a company and you're like, wow, their product works. In my opinion, Apple works so well. The products just work so well. It just, it makes someone who's not tech really, navigate something easily. Now, we were talking about this in our business, and some of our employees, I forget it off the top of my head, really like this dog, toy company. And for them, it was like what they loved was how long the toys last. They just are great quality. They last forever. Dogs can chew on it and tear it up, and it won't destroy it. It's just a great product. And then you've got other, like, again, let's get back to the Amazon. For me, first thing I think of was Amazon is I can access almost anything I need in a marketplace and get it within like 24 hours, with Amazon Prime. And, there's so much more to that company than that. But in the essence, Amazon has worked really hard to make sure that their delivery is fast as can be. So when you think of a company like Amazon, you don't just think of the logo. When you think of these dog toy company, which I can't remember off the top of my head, you don't just think of the logo, the advertising they do. There's these other things that come to mind, and it could be multiple things. Maybe it's a great product with awesome customer service. Maybe it's just a really cool image. There's something about this company, their image is just super cool. So at that point, it is a little on the like logo and color side of things. But again, that's just one factor. So whenever I think what is a brand, I believe that a brand is the entire heart and soul of a company. So whenever the one guy was talking about on the video I watched, branding's dead. You don't need to do advertising. You got to go work internally on your product. I think that, yeah, you have to go work internally on your product, but internally on your product is because that's part of your brand. So if your product's crap, then people are going to associate your brand as being crap. If your product's amazing, people are going to associate your brand as being amazing. And that's what we're really trying to create here. We're trying to create a mental association with people whenever they think of your company, or they hear your company, or they see your company, or they've experienced your company, or someone tells them about your company. All of a sudden, what are the first few things that come to mind? It's this. Oh, you got to choose these guys, or this. Or it drives by, the vehicle drives by a van wrap for like a local service. It's like, oh my God, that's really cool. I've seen them before. I've seen their ads. Or so-and-so was telling me about them. Or I do a Google search and I discover them. And I'm like, wow, that's really unique approach. The point is that I'm being very vague in all these concepts, but it's the idea that, man, this brand speaks to me. It's talking about, it speaks to me because of its service. It speaks to me because of its product. It speaks to me because of its look. It speaks to me because I see it everywhere. So to me, the brand becomes all of encompassing. It is your advertising. It is your logo. It is your message. It is your product. It is your service. It is, everything that defines the heart and soul of your company. And when you're thinking of a brand, you're thinking good and bad. So you can create a bad brand by, just messing up in a few areas. So to me, that's what is a brand. So, the question then becomes, can you grow without marketing, right? If branding is dead to this, individual that I was noticing, he said advertising is dead. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that advertising is not dead. It shifts forms, it changes forms, there becomes new platforms. Some industries, to me, it's industry. It could be industry product specific. It could be message specific. You could have the same company within the same industry running completely different approaches, different methodologies, different value systems, different ways of delivering the product. So, the idea that he was mentioning is some of the top companies don't spend money on marketing. They go internally. I tell this to my team all the time. Think about a Michelin star restaurant, right? A Michelin star restaurant typically isn't running commercials, and you don't see them in a lot of traditional advertising forms. They work so hard internally to on their product to create just the most fabulous dish that they can create. And that's what earns them, that recognition. People love it and they speak about it because they want to come back to it and experience how great of a product that is, and or service that might come with that. But then people might run TV shows about them, like Chef's Table, right? There could be a lot of PR involved with that. They could be inviting influencers into the restaurant to take photos and share them on their social media. There's a lot of different, and that all is a form of marketing. I mean, you could say PR, PR, marketing, advertising, a lot of these words, kind of overlap, right? So marketing and advertising, PR, this is not dead industry. And it just shifts forms, and it just depends on different, what your industry and your product is. So maybe some things take forms of influencing on social media. Some things take form of, being on podcast and OTT television streaming, and then there's your traditional forms of how do you, and this is for me, we work a lot with local service companies, and when a local service company delivers a great service, people are going to go on social media and maybe make some posts about it. Or if someone goes on social media and asks for a local service company, you're going to chime in and recommend the one you chose. You're going to tell your neighbors. Your neighbors are going to see the vehicle wrap on the street, but again, the vehicle wrap is very traditional marketing. That's a billboard on the street. So if you're a local service company, for instance, you have to be out in public. You have to be in the mailboxes. You have to be on the search engines. You have to be on the streaming devices. You have to be in the social media. You have to be on the van wraps. You have to be possibly on the billboard or the radio, and so again, not every company is going to be one of these top, multi-billion-dollar software techs. And I think a lot of times when people say, oh, this is this or this is that, they try to create a one size fits all. Everyone wants to be the multi-billion-dollar Amazon company, but there are hundreds and thousands of traditional companies, restaurants, dentists, doctors, auto repair, home service builders, all, marketing. These are many industries that they're not the sexy new tech that's coming, but it is the needed over and over again staples that exist in our lives. That tech is going to disrupt a lot of these industries. But I don't know the day that we're going to walk into a dentist's office and have an AI work on us. I'm not saying that's not possible, but I don't know when that day is going to come. I don't know the day that Elon Musk's in-home, robot, whatever his name is going to fix your electrical and plumbing issues so you don't have to call someone. That could be something that happens one day. I don't know when that may be. Until then, we have to ride out everything we can as a company. And that means traditional marketing, traditional advertising, PR is not dead. It's a way of getting your message out. The idea of not having to advertise because you put so much effort into your product is a solid concept, because you could always be putting more effort into your product. Your product generates referrals. So a lot of customers, or people we work with, I say, I want a referral only business. I don't advertise. Well, that's great. That means you're doing an amazing service and product, because an amazing service and product gets referrals. Now, the question just becomes how much, how fast, and how high can you grow with those referrals? I think with some of these tech companies, the referrals through, a business to consumer, tech product or social product can spread fast and far and wide, and generating so many referrals that you can be multi-million, dollar, billion potential business with less advertising, because the advertising becomes the word of mouth, the social posts, the social shares, the other untraditional forms of advertising, the podcast, the PR that comes with online, the influencing type stuff. But if you're like a local dentist or a local, home service company, a smaller deal, you're only going to get so many referrals so fast. So what I tell customers is you have to get your brand, your business, your essence, your soul, everything you are out there to as many people as possible. So you might have a great referral business. Awesome. That means you're doing everything right. Yeah, that's the foundation. Good for you. Keep it up, right? Don't lose that. But then marketing now drives more people to you. What happens when you get more people to you and you give them that great product? You have now quadrupled. You have whatever the number is, exponentially grown your own referral basis. So referral business, great product. Marketing, advertising to drive more leads creates more people that you can deliver the great product to. More people means more referrals exponentially. So it all works together. So in my opinion, that's what a brand is. And, that's my feelings on marketing, advertising. Can you grow without it? I don't know that you can ever grow without it. It just might be there's different forms, that you pay more or less for, different, traditional to untraditional methodology, like getting an influencer to help work with you. that's not necessarily going to be cheap. Who knows? Honestly, sometimes it could be free if it's a restaurant. Invite them in, give them a free meal. Now they post your stuff. It depends for each industry, but it's still marketing, right? It's still exposure, trying to lead generate and refer through a form of influencing referral or whatever you may want to call it. So marketing's not dead. It might be working a little better, a little less for certain industries. So can all businesses follow the same formula? Well, I think that's pretty self-explanatory based on what I've been talking, that businesses can't follow the same formula. If there was a marketing formula, a branding formula, a formula to work on your business to generate referrals that was like what that existed, then we'd all be multimillionaires, right? Every company everyone who has a business would be just raking in the cash, making the business, killing it because they followed the formula. Now, there are formulas for best business practices. There are advice and formulas from people who have been successful. I was talking with my brother today, and he was talking about Marcus Lemonis, and he's like, you got to focus on the 3 Ps, people, process, and, I'm going to forget about it, product, right? Product, process, and people. That's a formula. And so it's a good formula. It's correct, right? And there's, thousands of those. Consulting and coaching firms all over, who have their formulas that if you follow their formulas, it'll work. So there is not a one size fits all for a business or an industry, even if you are the same exact industry in the same location. You have a different approach. You have a different brand. You have a different delivery, whatever it is. Like, again, think of the people behind these businesses. 2 brands, 2 businesses are accompanied by different leaders, 2 different leaders or 2 different teams of leaders. And how often do you put 2 people together and they're the exact same? We might share similarities. Even twins aren't the exact same. You get twins, they look alike, but they have different personalities. It happens so often, right? So same thing with your business. 2 plumbers in the same city are going to be completely different. They're going to have, most of it stems from the leadership, the owners, the people in charge, because their character, the person that they are, is going to go through that business and help define the character of that business. And again, that business is its own entity. So if you got 2 businesses, even in the same industry, in the same location, they're 2 separate entities with 2 separate characters, 2 separate souls, 2 separate essences that define how they approach their product, how they deliver their product, how they train their employees, want to grow their product, how they manage their money, how they manage their production, how they, manage their entire business. And that all becomes the brand that's represented and seen by those around them. So you might do a Google search for a plumber in whatever city you have, plumber near me, and you find 2 people on the map who have great reviews. You find those same 2 people at the top of the Google organic. You click both their websites and you're looking at them, and maybe they do the exact same thing, but maybe this person just has kind of a colors and a look to them that feels more inviting. Maybe they have team images that just feels, more trusting. Maybe they have verbiage written in a way that makes you feel a little bit more, like they're the company for you. So even having your marketing in the same exact place as the other person or the other entity, the other business, does not mean that you're going to win over them. And it doesn't mean that they're going to win over you. That is a brand. In my opinion, that's your brand. So work on your business to define your brand, but that doesn't mean just work on your service. It means work on your message. It means work on your look. You know what it really means? It means stay true to who you are as a leader. Because as a leader, the leadership of your business, the ownership and the leadership of your business is going to define your business. If you're in there just for profits and money, and you don't care about the service, it's going to come across. And it doesn't mean you can't be in business for profits. You can make a lot of money in profits and have a wonderful service. So you can stay true to your character and really offer something of value, and you can make a good profit and money off it. But my point is that if you are the type of person, maybe you're a jerk, maybe you don't really care about people, and then that's going to probably come through in your product and service. And well, that's a whole nother topic right there. But look at your business, realize your business stems from your leadership, whether it's you or your team, you leading your team. Make sure to get that character to define the culture and the values and the character of your business, and make sure that's delivering what you really feel represents what you want to deliver. And that becomes your brand. And then figure out everywhere to put it. That becomes your marketing. And follow ideas from other people, see what other people are doing, but be creative. That becomes your formula. And then that just gets me down to that last part, is branding dead? I mean, I think that's quite clear from my conversation. Branding is not dead. Branding is everything. It is the soul of your company. So define what your brand is by looking at every part of your business, every part. Don't miss a beat. If you're thinking about your business like an entity and like a person like yourself, and you say to yourself, you know what, I'm really nice when I go out in public, and I'm really, I dress well, I represent myself well, I have good relationships, I take care of that stuff, but then I'm going home and I'm doing drugs on the couch in the evening. Well, that's a part of your brand still, and you got to get that under control. Again, not telling anyone how to handle their personal life, but my point is your business is the same way. Don't let one area of your business slack and become a problem area, because maybe that's not the customer facing area or something like that. So maybe you have a wonderful business in your messaging, in your product that you deliver, but then you've just got some really poor accounting going on, and because of that, you're not making any profit, you're in debt, and so you have a $10 million a year business, and things appear wonderful on outwards, but internally you have huge debt and you have no profit margins. That's part of your brand. That's going to put you down. And when you're down, people are going to, that's it. They'll know you're down. So your brand isn't everything that's just customer facing. It is your business at its heart and soul, and all that makes it up. So look at all that makes your business up. Try to focus on every part of it, and make your business have the true essence and character that it needs to, and don't slack off in some areas because you feel maybe that's not customer facing. Those areas will take down your business and it will become customer facing at that point. So that is my view on, is branding dead? I don't believe it is. Is marketing dead? I don't believe it is. Have things changed and shift? They always will. And we got to stay up with the times. And are there some companies who are able to do things with less traditional advertising? Of course there are. And is there a formula for it? I'm not sure, but you can look at what they do and see if there's ways to adapt it to your business. So just stay focused on it. Look at your brand as what your company, as what your customers think when they see or hear you. That's what your brand is. So yeah, my last piece of advice would be to put yourself in the mindset of your customers and think about their point of view and what do they think and feel when your business name comes up, when your business is shared with someone, when they see it around town, when somehow they have to interact with your business. What are the feelings, the thoughts that they have? and whatever it is that's going on in their head and they're thinking and feeling about your business whenever they discover it or hear it or get referred to it, that becomes your brand. All right. That's SEO Explained with CJ.